Good evening, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Wednesday night, which of course means it is match preview showtime, and we work our way towards the weekend and a trip up north. Whenever is it not a trip up north for the Gills? We are heading to Prenton Park on Saturday to take on Andy Crosby's unbeaten Tranmere Rovers, and I'm pleased to say for this week's show, I am joined by Tranmere Rovers fan Alfie Keating. I'll put his details as always, in the description at the bottom of the video. So go and give him a follow on X for everything to do with Tranmere in the build-up, during and after the Tranmere game. And of course, we all hope that he'll be more miserable than me come Saturday at 5 o'clock. But Alfie, welcome to the channel. Appreciate your time, mate. Thank you very
No,
much and
thank you
hope
very
you're
much.
good.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on. It's a great opportunity to have, and there's nothing better than talking about football, nothing better than talking about Tranmere. So I couldn't say no.
Exactly that indeed. Obviously, we usually look at sort of last six and form, but there's only two games to go off,
Yeah.
and you must be really encouraged by what you've seen. I think
Oh, absolutely.
it's a team in Tranmere that probably got accused of not scoring enough goals last season. That ultimately was one of the reasons that Nigel Adkins was removed from his post. But Andy Crosby's done a really good job since going in. And similar to us, I think if you had offered 4 points on at 9 a.m. on the 2nd of August before everything kicked off and a 4-0 home win to go with that as well and five different goal scorers, you'd have said, yeah, thanks very much.
No, literally that. If you look at from the end of last season, anyway, where we had a 4-0 win at Chesterfield at home, a 3-2 loss at Harrogate, where we had Josh Hawkes miss the last minute penalty as well. The consistency that had since Andy Crosby's took over has been just the best I've seen since Mickey Mellon. And obviously after that we've had the indoors and we've had the Atkins take over as well. And we haven't felt that as a fan base, that excitement going forward. And now with Crosby taking over with the formation that he's playing, the free flowing football, and obviously Amari Patrick playing a big part in that as well. It's just very exciting to see that. And basing the start of this season off the last season, we only scored 5 goals on the 31st of October last year. 31st of October, we're second game in. We've scored 5 goals already. And if you ask me, the 2nd of August, 4 points away at Colchester and home to Shrewsbury, you've just been relegated. I'm taking that all day, every day of the week.
Dare I say it, you probably should have beaten Colchester as well. You'd have better side on the
Oh,
afternoon. Probably should have been
yeah.
out of sight by half time as well, looking at the highlights.
Yeah, the only issue that we had with away at Colchester is we felt that Crosby made the wrong decisions with substitutions, taking off Davison, who has had a good start with pre-season as well, who runs about a bit. Away at Colchester, he put himself about, and bringing on Christian Dennis, who doesn't really put himself about, who's more of a finisher, who's more of a home game player, and
Mm.
taking off Patrick at the same as well, really killed that. And it made us go into a deep block, made Colchester attack us more, and made us a bit reserved. But yeah, so it made us more a bit for their goal as well to be so well. That finish, it's a 1 in 100 finish, really. No one's gonna see that coming from a League Two player. So for
Oh,
someone
it
like
was an
Colchester,
outrageous goal. Yeah, I think
at
it was
least,
in one of my top three goals of the week in my League Two show that I do. Yeah, it was Kyrie's Lisby, wasn't it? Yeah,
yes, yeah,
really, really good goal. Yeah, set up by a former Gills player as well, ironically,
yeah.
in Jack Tucker. I want to talk about summer business. I think
Hmm.
there were some familiar names, there were some not so familiar names. I think in terms of the familiar ones, you're looking at sort of Ethan Bristow coming back, trying to
Yes,
replicate what he did a couple of seasons ago when he was, probably part of the two best fullbacks in the division at the time,
hmm,
him and Josh Dacres-Cogley.
yes,
Richie Smallwood obviously does exactly what he says on the tin, got promoted
hmm,
with Bradford last season. Nathan Smith, similar to Richie Smallwood, got promoted. Loads of experience, loads of leadership with Port Vale. But I noticed there was a couple of names, sorry, in that performance against Shrewsbury that probably sort of went under the radar a little bit,
hmm.
and that was is it Noam Kernan and
No,
also
Kenny.
Charlie
Yep.
Whitaker who've come in who've not played loads of football in the last couple of seasons
Yes.
at previous clubs, but both were really really good. I listened to another sort of League Two podcast, not the top 20, and they just basically just kept describing. I think they called him Chomp. Kenny
Yeah.
was just tackle,
He.
tackle,
Yeah.
tackle, break up the play, ridiculous, and Whitaker's involved in the goals as well. So
Mm,
you must be really encouraged, not just with the results and the performances, but the fact that the new boys are hitting the ground running as
yeah.
well.
And this would be the first time in, well, a few years that our recruitment has actually started off very well. And the fact
Mhm.
that our midfield too, and Richie Smallwood and Noah Kenny have actually had that link up straight away is very exciting to see. And to see Noah, if you saw the first two goals that we scored against Shrewsbury, it came from Noah Kenny.
Yep.
That press, and that excitement of going forward and hitting someone, and having Richie Smallwood with the experience and the leadership that he's got behind him. It's crazy what they've been doing in the first two games. It's exciting to see. And then we've even still got Sam Finley coming back from when his suspension in 12 more games. So having that added to that midfield, and we can still do with a couple more up top as well. I'm not I'm not going to say that we've got the best attack in the league, because we
Mm.
definitely don't. But we need that extra. I think if you speak to any other Tranmere fan, we're going to say we need that striker, because we don't have that faith in Davison yet. But we love him because he throws himself about. Christian Dennis, he puts himself about as well, and he's a good finisher, but he's not consistent enough. Patrick is the only player that we look at and think, wow, he's got that talent, he's got that excitement, he's got that fear factor that puts into everyone. Charlie Whitaker, we haven't seen much yet. We saw him get a little bit against Shrewsbury. He got taken off for Connor Jennings, who started the game against Colchester. But he's got that young thrive, that bit of like, we haven't had that at Tranmere for a few years. We haven't had that young player come in and feel like he wants to play for the club.
Mm.
We've just had players that have gone on like a merry-go-round around the leagues, just playing for like money or anything, just to get that club. But having that, and we also had Taylor Clark Harris played, who scored his first senior
Hmm.
goal as well, who came on against Colchester as well, but didn't really show himself. But the way he started against Shrewsbury and getting that goal, it would just give himself confidence for the rest of the season. But then we also had, going into recruitment as well, Bruff played left back against Colchester and played left centre
From
half against.
Northampton.
Yes,
Yep.
he has been. Him and Noah Kenny have been the two-star performers for me this season, as long as Brian Patrick, but that comes with everything. But then Bruff, the way he played left back against Colchester, I thought coming in, he'd be more of like a left centre half, which he did play against Shrewsbury. But the
Mm.
way he played left back against Colchester shows that he's got that still bit about him. He's still got that pace. He's still got that cross, and he's still got like a left back should have. But having that at left centre half as well, it's just there's so many things that I could say about Crosby, but I just love the man, the stuff that he's done for my club, and the recruitment that he's been doing this year, because he's got contacts obviously with the Port Vale and so and so. So bringing in this players with just I don't know how to put it. It's just fear factor and experience, and not someone that just wants to go there for the wirral and the money and just be about. They're just players that have that ambition, and I love that. And especially knowing Kenny, him being 22 as well, being Liberian and coming in and just showing us what we want as a Tranmere player.
Yeah, it's encouraging, like you're saying, and to be doing it so quickly as well, because
Yeah.
naturally there's some sort of a bedding in period. But I guess the only caveat to the Shrewsbury performance is obviously Shrewsbury are a team that's low on confidence. That I mean,
Yeah.
their squad's awful, and that's no
Yeah.
disrespect to
Yeah.
Salop, but they look like a club in free fall. Unfortunately, I don't think Michael Appleton's the right fit, and they played with 10 men for 30 minutes as
Yeah.
well. But you can only beat what's in front of you, can't you? At the end of the day,
Exactly.
Amari Patrick scored another belter at the weekend. I feel I'm going to be saying that all season long. It's
Yeah.
it's one thing knowing what he's going to do. It's another
Mm-hmm.
thing trying to stop him from
Stop it.
dropping that shoulder onto that right foot. And they didn't heed the first warning. My only concern with that system, a little bit, Alfie, and I want to ask you
Mm.
about that, is because, and I know this is more to do with the back three. You said Bruff played left
Yes.
back the first game, but obviously there was a back three against Shrewsbury.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a risk because you're almost playing Patrick as like a hybrid left wing back? He's not
Yeah.
naturally defensive, so there's a risk there if you come up against better teams than Shrewsbury that if he gets caught up the pitch, Bruff gets a little bit exposed. But my other question is, does it then almost naturally rotate into a 4-4-2 because Cameron Norman then just drops in as a right back the other side to give you a back four, and it almost then pivots round that you end up with 4-4-2
Yeah.
to keep that shape defensively. But are there any concerns in terms of Patrick's defensive work against better sides than you've? Colchester a good side, but
Yeah.
certainly
Yeah.
the better sides than Shrewsbury that you faced
I,
on Saturday.
I feel like Crosby, with using Patrick on the left wing back, he only uses him in games where we feel like we're going to be more attacking. So,
Okay,
like away at Colchester, it was more, we played Bruff at left back and we played Damaro Patrick in the 10.
okay,
And then, but playing him in the left wing back position, like you said, it does go into like a 4-4-2, and then the two tens become like two strikers,
Yeah.
and then it's either Josh Davison just runs himself about up top, or it's Christian Dennis coming behind, coming into the deep role. But then we always utilize Cameron Norman a lot because he's obviously 6'3", 6'4". He's ridiculous in the air. We always use that Amaro Patrick ball over to the top right side to Cameron Norman, knocks it down into the middle, and then either the left centre back of Brough, or we saw in the first game of Jordan Turnbull going into the left back position. So then that's more of a 4-5-1
Okay.
because then we're packing out that midfield, and then we're having the striker cut deep into the Richie Smallwood and Noah Kenny position. But I wouldn't say I'm concerned in Patrick's defensive abilities because the only game that I saw last season where I was concerned, which was a home game against Doncaster, but it's Doncaster. We lost 3-0. Luke Molyneux had the game of his life that game. So I can't
Yeah,
really
and he had a few
complain.
of them last season, to be
Yeah,
fair, as well.
exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't say I have any concerns with it because I trust Crosby.
Mhm.
Literally, every game I go into now, I look at the team sheet and I think I wouldn't do that, but who am I to say that?
Oh, exactly. And that's, we sit here as fans and talk about it,
That's
and
it. I can't complain.
that's why Andy Crosby and Gareth Ainsworth for us are paid to make the big decisions. And I want to talk
Exactly.
about it because it's two managers
Hmm.
that are in similar situations. Both came in back end of last season. I think Crosby managed 13 games in the league back end of last campaign. Ainsworth
Yeah.
9. I think you only lost 2 in that period. We were
Yeah, we did.
unbeaten. Both got the same record this season, 1-1, drawn 1. So it should
Hmm.
be an intriguing battle. And although they're similar ages, it's going to be an intriguing battle because Ainsworth's massively more experienced in terms of games managed. I'm not saying that Crosby's not experienced based on his amount of time he spent in
Yeah.
football. Obviously, we've mentioned his good start. It's been, second to none. I think is it 28 points from 15 games since he took
Yeah.
over or something. It's ridiculous. It's playoff form. It's automatic promotion
Yeah.
form. Is there a concern? And I'm looking at this based on the fact that he's not managed many games as a number one,
Hmm.
and also the fact that he did well as a caretaker at Port Vale a few years ago, and then it went horribly wrong when he took the job full time. I think his win percentage dropped from like 52% as an interim to
Yeah.
about 30% as a
It's,
number one. Would the only concern be, and is this fair to say, that when this good form stops and you do have a rough trot, are we just intrigued, maybe not worried, to see how Crosby reacts and how then he, galvanises the group to reproduce the form that we've seen over the last 15 games across the back end of last season and the start of this?
I feel like Crosby in himself is a very honest man, so he would always come out and say, "Look, I know what I'm doing is wrong. I
Mm,
know." Like the game last season, I think who did we play? And there's a game where I loved the interview that he come out and said. I think it was a Harrogate game actually. He come out and
mm,
said that, "Look, I chose the tactics wrong. I came out with this wrong. Do not blame the players and do not blame Josh Hawks for missing the penalty. It was my fault." So the
okay.
fact that he's come out and took the courage to say that after a loss away from home, I see that because we can't win every game of football.
No.
I know there's going to be a period in maybe during Christmas time where we're going to have about 6 or 7 games in a month, and we're going to lose like 2 or 3 in a bounce, and then he's going to have a bit of pressure on because we're not expecting to be top 7. We're more than happy as a fan base to be top 10
Okay.
after last season as well. So having him. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I can't say I have that because of what he showed us as a fan. He's done everything right. So I can't see him doing anything wrong for us as a club to doubt him or put pressure on him or anything because he's just changed. He's brought my club alive again.
Oh no, I totally get that. And I'm not saying
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that he's going he's not good enough. I'm just obviously
yeah,
like you said, all teams will have a rough trot and then it's just how he responds to that because that's not
yeah,
happened to him at Tranmere here. So it'd be a completely different environment for him
yeah,
and the squad. And it was based on the fact that like I just looked at them Port Vale numbers where I think it was sort of 6 wins in 13 as an
mm,
interim and then he won sort of 9 out of 40 or something. It
yeah.
dropped significantly. But no, you can only go off what you're seeing at the moment and that's just certainly stuff to be encouraged by.
Yeah, like I
Um,
say, there's a lot. Like all I can say is what he's put in front of us at the minute is just outstanding. So if he carries this on and he just carries on being honest and coming out in his interviews and saying everything, but like every interview that, because obviously we've gone from Ian Dawes to Adkins, their interviews
Mm.
have been very dull, and very selfish. He's come out and been very on. He gets us. He gets us as a club. Adkins used to come out and say, "I'm a fan. I know what I'm doing," but he didn't prove this on the pitch, out the pitch, on anything. Crosby, proving it on the pitch with his performances, proving it on the pitch with his recruitment, proving it on the pitch with his attitude, and proving off the pitch with his interviews. So just doing this, he gets us, and that is what we love, and that is everything that we could ask for in a man. I couldn't speak
That's it.
highly of him.
And like I say, you can only judge it on what's happening at the moment, and there's nothing to be negative about. And
No, exactly.
I'm the same with Gillingham at the moment. And talking about interviews, I watched Gareth Ainsworth's interview a little while ago before we
Mm,
came online about the defeat against Wimbledon in the cup.
yeah,
He said, like, I don't feel like we've lost. I don't feel like we've been knocked out of the cup. We've been the better side second
yeah,
half, and we've absolutely battered them. And like we've scored a good equaliser, and then
mm,
we've come within the ball's bounced off the crossbar and hit the line and
yeah.
come out. If that goes in, we probably win the game with 5 minutes to go.
Your
Wimbledon
go-
were,
your goal came from a mistake as well, didn't it?
their goal came from a mistake.
Their goal
Johnny
from a mistake.
Johnny Williams overplayed on the edge of
Yeah,
their box when we got caught, and it was one ball, and the bloke
yeah,
outrun our centre half, and then our goal came from a corner, which was a good header.
mm,
Um, but yeah, there's reasons to be encouraged for me, and I know we don't all see it the same, and
yeah,
people, see it differently. But for me, we're 3 games unbeaten this season in 90 minutes. We're 12 unbeaten under the manager. We've still got people like Sam Vokes, who's not even featured yet.
yeah,
He might be available for the weekend, I'd imagine, from the bench. We've got Seb
mm,
Palmer-Holden, who was brilliant in pre-season, but then tweaked hamstring in the last friendly. He won't be available. We've got Aaron Rowe to come back, who's probably our best player last month of last season. So I just think it's just a modern game. I think everything has
yeah,
to be instant, and I'm obviously a little bit older, and I tend to want to give people time. And Ainsworth and the club have spoken about this 2-year plan, which I thought was brilliant. I was so happy
yeah.
to see that because I got fed up with reading, "Oh, we've got to get promoted," and then we were just awful, like all the
Mm.
time. Um, I did have one more question. Any
No,
injury concerns after last night's cup game against Burton? But obviously that's been
no,
written off
yeah,
because
yeah.
someone turned the power supply off
Power,
in Wirral.
yeah.
So I imagine it's the same 11 as last Saturday then.
Well, I would imagine so as well, but I'm not sure with Crosby because obviously Gillingham are very robust, I would say,
Hmm.
defensively and very midfield. And obviously, we've got to keep an eye on Bradley Dack. It's the main issue that we have, the main issue that Gillingham have. So I'm not sure what he would do, whether he will start Patrick at left wing back or whether he'll go back to Brough at left wing back and put Turnbull back in. But then also, we saw even Bristow start last night. So I'm not sure whether he'd chuck him in the deep end straight away. But I wouldn't be shocked if he does. Crosby, when he knows he has faith in a player, he has faith in a player. So I would say it would be a similar lineup to Colchester. I would say it'd be Brough at left wing back, Turnbull, Nathan Smith, O'Connor, Norman, Kenny, but then Smallwood, and then I would say that Whittaker starts after his last performance with Patrick, and then Davison up front.
So you're
So the
taking
two
out
tens.
Harris, take out Harris
Yes,
to accommodate
I'm
a more
kind yeah.
defensive wing back. Yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how we line up based on last season's home game when we beat you
Yeah.
3-0 because Joe Bode absolutely destroyed Cameron
It
Norman that
didn't.
afternoon. I think
Yeah,
Cameron Norman did the old one of them,
yeah,
didn't he?
it
After
did.
25 minutes, pretended his hamstring had gone. And I'm still convinced that Joe Bode's better from the wide, but obviously at the moment we're having to play
Yeah.
a certain system because we've got Aaron Rowe injured, Jack
Mm.
Nolan's not fancied, so needs must and that type of thing. Um, since 2010, we've played 10 times, 4 wins for the Gills, 3 draws and 3 wins for Rovers, 14 scored for our club and 18 for yours, Alfie. And at Prenton Park, it's been 5 games, 1 win for the Gills, 2 draws and 2 defeats. 6 goals for us and 10 for you. So there's not a lot between the two teams.
No.
I'd give you probably the slight edge looking at that Prenton Park record.
Mm.
You beat us comfortably a couple of seasons ago up there 3-1. I think our goal came in injury time.
Hmm.
Last season's game was probably one of the
Just
worst known
yeah,
to men.
yeah, awful.
We didn't even score our goal, did we? I think that was the month where we had to
Uh,
do a goal of the month
yeah,
competition, and it either went to
Jordan.
your
Yeah,
centre
Jordan
half or
Turnbull own
the
goal.
Grimsby centre half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Score prediction.
Well, you haven't beaten us at Prenton Park since 2013,
It's a long
and
time.
Crosby's only lost once at Prenton Park, and that was 3-0 home to
Hmm.
Doncaster. But then again, you're very robust defensively, and so are we. not. It's not going to be goals galore. We know that. It's not going to be like Shrewsbury 4
No.
nil. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go for a 0-0.
So I'm going to be slightly more ambitious, which is quite weird, being a Gillingham fan who's watched a club that's struggled to score more than a goal a game. But we've scored in every single game under
Mm,
Ainsworth, even last night in the cup against high level opposition.
yeah.
So I'm going to go for the same outcome, but I'm going to go for an exciting 1-all draw.
Yeah, I was stuck between the two, but then if you man mark Norman and man mark Patrick, that we haven't. That's the only issue we have. We haven't got goals other than Patrick.
Hmm.
I know we've had five different goal scorers, but if you look at back, we don't have threat other than Patrick. So if you knock him out of the game, then it's a different kettle of fish. We don't know what to do. But
Which I
I
think
trust
if you
Crosby.
play him weirdly, I think if you make yourself more defensively robust, you might play into Haran's defensively because then he'll have to
Yeah.
play central and then he's coming up against three centre backs who've been really good so far
Hmm.
this season. So it's whether Crosby's brave enough to leave him out on that
Yeah.
week and go with that more high risk, high reward type of setup and
No,
just leave him
exactly.
one on one with our wing back, which could be a more interesting battle. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm coming up.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
second trip, yeah. So
Good man.
secret for everyone that's watching, I used to work with Alfie. He lives down
Yeah,
here with us, so he's making exactly the same trip at the weekend.
I
So
am.
fair play to him. He does the same trips for a lot of Tranmere home games that we do for most of our northern away trips, Gills fans. Anyway, that is enough for this episode. I'm going to blow full time now. So thank you for Alfie for his time and his knowledge talking all things Tranmere Rovers. If you're a Gills fan or a Tranmere fan, please consider hitting that like button. It's been really good so far, the first two previews. So I'm going to be ambitious and say, can we get to 80 likes on this one? Please, as well, while you're there, if you hit that subscribe button and press notification bell, then you don't miss a show. We do a League 2 hour every Monday, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. live on YouTube. So come and get involved in that every Monday night. Yeah, once again, thanks to Alfie. Thanks to
Thank
everybody
you.
who's been listening at this point and still watching. We will be there, myself, Ava and Nick, and everybody else who wants to get involved with a match day live at Prenton Park on the weekend. But until then, I hope you've had a good week. And most importantly, up the Gills.